and we are all possibility, every one of us in this room. Good morning, my name is Brenda Ainsley, and I'm the Vice President of Resource Development. I'm new to Vancouver, and I'm new to the position, and I'm just thrilled to be here. I have a history with United Way of 11 years, and when the opportunity came to come to Vancouver, I just jumped at it. Well, this video inspires us, and hopefully the people that you work with, you inspired me this morning. I loved meeting you in the networking, and I was inspired in our training session. So I just want to thank you for coming here today. Our success is dependent upon your success, and collectively we're really excited to make a real difference in the Lower Mainland this year. It's now my pleasure to introduce Maheen back to you. Maheen's our Director of Workplace Campaigns, and I just, thanks for coming today and enjoy the rest of the morning, and we'll look forward to celebrating at the end of the campaign. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda, and welcome back to our plenary session this morning. We're so glad that you're here. I'm sure that for some of you who were at training this morning, that you're feeling inspired and connected to the people that you got to meet this morning. Most of you spent that session learning how to run fabulous United Way campaigns. But like Brenda, I learned a lot from all of you as well. I actually got to spend the morning with those people who had been employee campaign chairs for 4 or more years. And we counted up the number of years of United Way volunteers in the room, and we had hundreds of years in a group of 27 people. I got to meet people like Jocelyn, who has been an employee campaign chair at AMEC for 16 years, or Blair, who has been involved with the United Way campaign at PNG for 25 years. So an amazing group of people I got to meet this morning. So now we're going to get you revved up and inspired, and you'll finally learn what a Boomwhacker really is. So, do you still have your Boomwhackers with you? Yeah? I feel like half an air traffic controller and half United Way right now. So as many of you know, we believe in United Way very strongly in the community. That's the reason that I came to work for United Way, and I hope it's the reason that you're here today. United Way's mission is to build strong communities, to move people from poverty to possibility, to help kids be all they can be. And we can't do that alone. We need you. You are the glue that holds this great community together. In today's world, it's really easy to become immersed in our own thoughts, our own joys, our own struggles. But we're not alone. Every person we pass, whether it's on the street, in the aisle at the grocery store, or walking by us in the park, shares at least the similar experience that our lives are filled with joys and sorrows. In the chaos of daily life, taking care of families and meetings and appointments and getting the job done, we can sometimes forget the impact we have on others. Each and every one of us has the tremendous power to do good and make our community better. How often do we stop to consider what another person, a complete stranger, may be thinking or feeling? Well, we're going to find out. Blogger Colin, author of The Stranger Project, is here to share with us just what happens when you do. Colin was nominated for a 2015 City of Vancouver Award of Excellence. He is a TEDx speaker and is currently the star of a documentary about his life that has been selected for the 2015 Catalina Film Festival. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Colin Easton.
Good morning. I don't know if I'm a star. I don't do that too much. No, that's okay. Second here. All right. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be here with you this morning as we rev up to make this United Way campaign the very best we possibly can. I'd like you all to take a moment to congratulate yourselves for your contribution, your willingness, your energy, your support, and being representatives of the United Way of the Lower Mainland. Because of the work that you're doing and the work that you've signed up to help with, there are hundreds of thousands of people throughout the Lower Mainland in British Columbia who will benefit from what you are doing. You all deserve a huge round of applause, so let's make it really loud. Let's face it, without each other, we wouldn't be here this morning, and that's kind of the nature of it. It's community coming together. So this morning I want to take you on a magical carpet ride. Picture this. You're in your car, and if you don't have a car on my magic carpet ride, you do. You're in your car, it's Friday after work, and it's a long weekend. Traffic on the highway is a nightmare. You look in the rearview mirror and you see a red car, about 10 cars behind you. You can see the lights flashing, this person's honking their horn, they're weaving in and out of the lane, and you're like, what a jerk, what's their problem? It's a traffic jam, we all have to wait, what are you doing? You keep glancing in the rearview mirror and you might be getting a little kind of, maybe I'm speaking for myself, determined that that car is not going to overtake me. The driver of the red car is flashing the lights, honking. You even look in the rearview mirror and you see him driving on the left-hand shoulder, on the side of the highway. You're not only shocked, you might even be a little bit indignant. Why would that car think that they should get ahead of everyone else? One final glance in the mirror and you can still see that car weaving in and out, but it's not getting ahead of you. As you leave the highway at your exit, you take one final glance. They're still back there, weaving, honking, and you're happy. You might even feel a small sense of victory. They did not pass us on the highway. You're looking forward to getting to the cabin for the weekend, and the rest of your drive is a breeze. I'm sure we've all seen situations like this, yes? You possibly find yourself getting annoyed. You might think the driver's a complete ass. I know I have. The next morning, you're sitting at the cabin, you're on the deck in the sunshine, enjoying your morning coffee, and you're listening to the news. You hear a story about a dreadful accident that happened on the highway yesterday, just a few stops away, a few exits away from where you had gotten off the highway. A school bus full of children had been rear-ended by a semi-tractor trailer, and there were 2 serious injuries. Fortunately, an off-duty doctor was on the highway at that time, and he had his radio scanner on, and he'd heard about the accident. The media later interviewed the doctor, calling him a hero, as he was first to arrive at the scene. And he said, I don't know about hero, I'm just glad that I was able to get there to help those children who were in distress. I'm sure there's actually a lot of people out there this evening who think I'm a complete and utter jerk. I was weaving in and out of traffic on the highway, honking the horn, flashing my lights, and even driving on the shoulder of the highway to get through the traffic jam. Perception. How often do we stop to think about why someone is behaving in a particular way? To wonder what their story is, or what the motivation is to even perhaps behave so seemingly rude. In 2014, I went out every single day and met a stranger. I asked each stranger questions that would tell me about their life, things about them, and I listened to their story. I heard what they had to say, and then I went home and I wrote a story about the life story that the stranger had shared with me. I called it The Stranger Project, and I want to share some of that with you this morning. Here's 3 photographs of people that I have encountered through the Stranger Project. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Of these 3 people, one was once an out of work, homeless, alcoholic, drowning in depression. One was a former drug addict who had become a prostitute to pay for a drug habit. One is a physiotherapist and a blogger. And I want you to just take a moment and decide for yourself which is which. Time's up. This is Mike. His father died when he was 7 years old. When he was 12 years old, his mother told him that he had been adopted and the man that had died when he was 7 actually wasn't his father. When he was 15 years old, he started taking drugs, and by the age of 16, he had turned his first trick as a male prostitute. He moved to LA, became a full-time prostitute and a drug addict. This is Erin. She's a physiotherapist. When she was a teenager, she developed anorexia, and at the age of 18, she was hospitalized weighing 89 pounds. She has a blog now called Raw Beauty Talks that helps women to not succumb to the pressures of marketing, commercialism, or the standards of society push on people to look a specific or certain way. Erin got married last year and had her first son, and I get to see her around my neighborhood quite often. It's lovely. So then that leaves this guy. I was once an out-of-work, alcoholic, drowning in depression. And the thing is, I didn't know I was depressed. I just thought that feeling shitty was the way that everybody felt. I just thought that that was life. I'd felt awful for so long, it had become normal. By a show of hands, and remembering we're in a safe environment, it's okay, nobody's going to judge you here, who's here today because they want to feel good about doing something to give back? Awesome. Thank you very much for your honesty. How many of you have thought that the work you're putting in, you might not ever actually see the benefits of the work you've signed up for with the United Way? Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That ends my questioning for today. I've learned that life has its own way of rewarding us, and the rewards are abundant if we're open and willing and have an open heart and are able to just give away. Open to risk giving with no personal expectation of return. I've lived the most powerfully led years of my life under two mantras, and I want to share those with you. Mantras that each have presented themselves in my life. They're like my building blocks, if you will, reaching up. The first one that really was the one that turned things around for me. I was working at the Belfry Theatre in Victoria, and I was a front of house manager, and I looked after the audience and the army of 300 volunteers. And during one particular play, no matter where I was in the building, I heard a line, no matter what I was doing. And that line was, "You've got to change your life if you want to change your life." 3 months later, that sentence helped me to seek professional help to get some support with being an active alcoholic. That was 16 and a half years ago. I have the date tattooed right here on my arm. I don't intend to ever need that reworked or covered up. You've got to change your life if you want to change your life. The second mantra that I've come to live with has somewhat related to the first in the way that it happened. 4 or 5 years later, a sponsor at AA told me, "You can't keep it if you want to give it away." She was talking about sobriety, the importance of being there to help others. If I want to stay sober, it helps me get out of my own head by helping others. It's the same with love, happiness, connection, community. The list is endless. We have to connect with others if we want to feel connected. We have to be the community that we want to be a part of. I love social media, and I'm a bit of a fanatic with it. A few years ago, I was so immersed in social media, I would turn down invitations from my friends for dinner, coffee, movies, excursions. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to be alone. But I didn't feel alone because I felt that I was connecting with people online. By the end of 2013, my depression was all-consuming. I had taken 6 months off work and was spending days and days isolating myself away. Sometimes I'd go 3 or 4 days without even leaving my apartment. I knew that something had to change, and I knew that I had to make that change happen. I decided that I would do a project that would involve going out and meeting with strangers, something that I would commit to and get out of my house each and every day. Even if I went out for only 5 minutes and met somebody right away and then went back home, I felt better because I had made that connection. I had left my apartment and I had connected with someone. I could go back home and feel better about myself that I had made some progress. As time went on, I became more and more interested in the people that I was speaking with, and the stories became more and more in-depth and more interesting, and sometimes I was talking to people for an hour and a half. I always felt better afterwards. I discovered the power of connection, a sense of belonging and of being a part of a community of people, live and in person. Some days were harder than others. Some days I was too tired or not wanting to go out. For 2 weeks, I had friends visiting from New York, and sometimes I didn't get out on the street to meet a stranger until midnight, which, let me tell you, is a really unique situation. Approaching strangers at midnight, asking them to tell me their life story. But I did it. I didn't miss a single day in 2014. For the first 9 months, I wrote at length about the strangers, and I didn't share anything about my own personal story. I was doing countless interviews and presentations about the Stranger Project, and I never shared with anyone anything about my depression. Then in October of 2014, I was invited to present at TEDx Run Through Collingwood. I stood on stage in front of 400 people and shared the story of the Stranger Project and talked publicly for the first time about my own mental health issue and living with depression. Everything changed after that, and I mean everything. It was so liberating and empowering. We need to share our stories. That's how stigma is defeated, by standing up and sharing our personal experiences. There's a man that lives in my apartment building, and I see him very early in the morning. I am a morning person. 5:30, I don't care. If I'm up, I want coffee, I'm out, I'm doing it. At every time that I leave my building at around 5:30, I see this gentleman who lives in my building. He's an older man, out cleaning the pool. He waves, I wave, and we both go about our own thing. One day I saw him in the elevator, and making conversation, I asked how he felt about getting up so early in the morning and cleaning the pool. He smiled and told me that he liked it, that he found it contemplative. He liked the meditation, and he found that when you're doing the vacuuming of the pool, he found it calming. He didn't like that anyone was around. He smiled and said that he didn't mind. The elevator stopped, he got off from his floor, and we said goodbye. A few weeks later, I found out from the apartment building manager that that frail old man that I see in the very early hours of the morning cleaning the pool is a volunteer. He does it because he enjoys it. He's aware that all the other tenants in the building benefit from the work that he does, cleaning the pool and looking after the garden around our pool. His belief is that we should do things to make other people happy. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything that other people can benefit from is a great thing. He also believes in doing it without fanfare or reward. The act of doing for others is the reward. The immediate impact of being there to help other people, and as you are, to guide people, to offer support, and your willingness to give. To represent the United Way is to support community. You are the voice in the community. Be loud, be heard. The most authentic and repeated stories are those that come from personal experience. The difference between sympathy and empathy. Empathy is aligning with someone, letting them know that they've been heard, even if you haven't had that experience for yourself. Perhaps asking, what can I do to help? As I find my own way to live and adapt as a person living with a mental health issue, it doesn't mean I've learned all there is to know. I still have to work daily to be open, to self-check, and sometimes just to stop, to reflect and think about something, even delay a decision if I'm reacting emotionally. And of course, I have a great example, and it's another story that I'd like to share with you, and I hope that's okay. One of the things that I like to do, and it's kind of built up over the years, especially with the advancement of technology, everybody's got a phone. My switch off and immerse time is photography. I don't have any fancy equipment, I just have my iPhone, but I have a passion for it. I spend some time taking cigarette butts out of photographs, adjusting the light, the color, adding some filters. When I take photographs, I don't usually look at them right away, and it's always kind of fun when I get home and by the voodoo magic of technology, they're suddenly on my iPad. I often take many pictures of one thing, so at least I'm sure that I'll get one decent picture of what it is that I'm photographing. This photograph of me, my shadow on a swing, I posted on Instagram. And one day, I followed a digital trail from someone who had left a comment on this photo. I discovered that this person had actually copied this photograph, posted it on his Instagram account, and not given me any credit. I had an emotional reaction to this. And by emotional, I mean I was pissed. I was further frustrated that the post, had characters of an alphabet that I couldn't read, let alone copy and put into Google Translate. I was angry and I was pissed that someone would not acknowledge that this image wasn't theirs. The nerve. It looped around in my head for a few times. Okay, a few times. It just kept going round and round. But I managed to get to a rational place somewhat. I took a screenshot and I sent the comments that this person had made, as we see here, to a friend of mine who reads and writes Farsi. I explained that what had happened, and I asked him if he wouldn't mind translating for it to tell me what was actually written about my photograph. And he replied, "Hi, dear Colin, it says, it's not always necessary to have a beautiful face or pleasant voice. Beautiful heart is enough. It's enough to see through your heart beautifully. Having a beautiful heart is enough by itself to attract many people to yourself." I was blown away. It was not what I expected. And then my friend added, "I hope it helps. Have a nice weekend." Not all is as it seems. It takes work to remember the lessons that life provides for us. I need to be open-hearted, and sometimes I need to have a reminder of what that means. You bring your willingness to grow, to learn, to try things that might make you feel uncomfortable. That's why you're here. Challenge will happen whether we like it or not. The best that I can do is accept that, be prepared, and learn what I can to move forward. Take a look around at the person sitting next to you, perhaps somebody across the room, or behind you. We all bring different things to the table. We all got here today via different routes. We all have different workplaces, and we're all here with different motivations. But they're all good. You've already demonstrated that by being here. We're all here on a common mission. A mission to make a difference, to create a positive effect by helping others. And by helping others, we help ourselves. Ripples extend outward from the action of being here. The tools that you've learned about and the common drive, energy, and commitment to succeed, it's all around this room. Let's all leave here today recognizing that we are each an individual and that one person, as an individual, can make a difference. We can make a difference. I think I've heard and shown today that the smallest action has led me to this amazing place, right here in this room with you today. It's an experience that has shifted my life and my perspective, but I did that. Leave here today and go forth. I've always wanted to say that. Go forth and carry this challenge forward with you. As you start your campaign, set a goal. Today I will meet someone. I will connect with that person. Be confident and you will do it. Whatever part of this challenge of being a United Way campaign worker, the part of it that you find the most difficult, do that first. At the end of each day, make it possible for you to be able to say to yourself, I met someone today who's not a stranger, and that sent out a small ripple. Collectively, as a community of over 200 people in this room, each of us consciously going forward and engaging with others, with that one extra person, imagine the wave that that will create. And together we'll do it the United Way. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to someone who is a stranger to me, and to some, but not all of you. And I imagine by the end of this morning, we'll all be fast friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the United Way's Carlos Carvalho.
everyone hear me all right? The levels are good? Awesome. Okay, before we get going, first another round of applause for Colin. Unbelievable. Really, one more thing, there's all these amazing people at the back. Can all of you come forward? Let's make this room feel a little bit more cluttered. We're all friends here. We're no longer strangers, right? Isn't that what Colin just taught us all? All right. So, my name is Carlos Carvalho. I'm the labor staff representative at the United Way. That means, if you come to the United Way office, you usually get to watch me run around the office trying to engage unions with what the United Way is doing. Love my job. It's a blessing. Sometimes it's tough, but I really, really do love it. But for today, for the next 20 minutes, I get to be the boom time master. I know, keep my day job, right? Exactly. My wife said the exact same thing. So look, all joking aside, all of us here are volunteers. And when you step up to be a volunteer, especially for the United Way, you're stepping up to be a leader. That's not easy. It takes courage. And we want you to know that you are not alone. Not ever. You are all United Way ambassadors, and together we're going to make possibility happen. We're going to make it happen, I promise. But before we make that happen, and before we start banging these things together, I need to introduce my team, okay? So please, you're going to have to have a big round of applause. If you're going to do a boom whacking activity, you got to have some beats. So please welcome the Beats Master, Jonah. Yeah, that's going to get good, especially with those beats. Okay, next up, the wonderful campaign associates who are helping me out. They made their own team name. They are the Team United Way Boomwhackers. If they could come in. Okay, now, before we get started, because I'm kind of a union guy, I always worry about WCB, so please let's do some stretches first. Everybody out. Everybody out. Very, very important. We don't need combo clamps coming out of here, all right? Okay, so first things first. Arms up. Arms down. Don't hit the person in front of you. Arms up. Arms down. Okay, now we're going to be doing a lot of head nodding, so let's go next to the left, or heads to the left, and to the right. To the left again, now to the right. We all look a little bit silly from my perspective. Okay, now let's do one of these. Stretch out those wrists. Yeah, that looks like fun. Okay, perfect. You're all pros. Now, I know we've all been waiting to do this. We all want to make a ton of noise with our boomwhackers. So that you get it out of your system, I'm going to give everyone 5 seconds to just go crazy, wait for it, wait for my go, to just go crazy and make as much noise as you can, okay? 1, 2, 3, go! And stop! Gotta be a little bit more with me when I go, and stop! You gotta stop, okay? That's how this works. I'm the boom time master. Alright, okay, we're gonna do something called the United Wave. So how this is going to happen is Jonah's going to give me a slow beat. Just a second, Jonah. And when I say red, Nick's going to lift up red. When I say that, everybody with a red tube is going to whack them together. Now, you will notice that there are 2 different sizes of red. If you have a red tube, size doesn't matter. Okay? Remember that. Remember. Take that home with you, okay? Very, very important to know. So, if it's red, red is red, okay? Next up, when after the red goes up, I'm going to yell out orange. Yes, orange is going to go up, and then everybody with an orange stick is going to, pretty simple, okay? We're going to go on with that. After orange, it's going to be yellow. After yellow, it's going to be green. After green, it's going to be purple, and then we're going to end it off with pink. Okay? I know everyone's looking at me like, what are you doing, Carlos? What are you doing? Let's start off with the slow beat. Just a slow beat, please, Jonah. All right. Red. faster, okay? All right, so let's start with a slow beat again, and we'll get it faster. All right. Red, orange, yellow, green, purple, and pink. Faster, 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 faster. Yes, this is awesome. Well done, guys. This is awesome. Okay, so now that we're pros, Adrian, can we get the color list? There it is. All right. What are you guys laughing at? Is it me? Okay. Has everyone here heard of Guitar Hero? This is nothing like Guitar Hero. I'm just joking. It's very, very similar to Guitar Hero, except without guitars, obviously. So, you will notice that red is in 3 different spots. No need to get confused. Just in your own mind, pick a spot, pick the red line that you're following, and when that line hits the keyboard, pretty simple, right? Same thing goes for green. You'll notice green is in a couple different, 3 different spots as well. Sorry, 4 different spots. Same thing. All right. Now yellow in 2 and 3 spots. Again, the same thing. Pink. Sorry, guys. Pink. Make sure, don't forget that pink here. Orange down the middle and on the side. And last but not least, if you have a purple tube, keep an eye on here. Purple only comes down this side. Okay? Now, let's have a little more fun, one more practice round. Okay, we're going to do some scale. So we're going to have an 8 count. Does that scare people? It scared me when I was learning what an 8 count was. All right, so an 8 count, Jonah. Okay, that's what an 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, as we're doing this, on the 7 and the 8, everybody with red, yellow tubes, hit the mark. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. All right. Now, very, very good, guys. Very good listeners. Must have been riveting courses. All right. So 5 and 6 is going to be green and orange. Okay, so we're going to go green and orange, and then red and yellow, okay? Let's start us off with the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes! Man, this is awesome. All right, I thought we were going to go over, but we're going to get this thing done quickly. Okay, so 3 and 4 is purple and red. So you'll notice if you've got a red tube, you're going to be busy, okay? So, all right, so let's start it off with the 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Everyone with green and orange is a little bit weak there, okay? Just pick it up. Don't think I'm up here not paying attention, all right? Okay. 1 and 2 is going to be pink and green. So green, it's your time to step it up also, okay? So let's get an 8 count going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Okay. We're going to do that, but we're going to do it in repetition, okay? We're going to keep it going. Okay, so let's start. We might even get a little bit faster. That's kind of part of the game. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. That is how you do it. This is awesome. Finally, my dream, our dream is all coming alive. This is going to be great. Okay, so next up is we are going to do this to a song. We all know the rules. We are going to do this to a song. It's a great song. You'll notice it. It's by the Black Eyed Peas. You can probably imagine what song it is. But before that, though, I saw this person earlier. Now, this is someone who's new to the United Way. He was a stranger to me a couple weeks ago. But he actually comes with some experience in this kind of public speaking stuff. So will Stephen Webster, our new VP of Marketing, please come up here and give me a hand. Round of applause for Stephen. He doesn't even have two. He doesn't even have two. Hold on a second. No, dude, what are you doing? Jonah, get this guy some cheers. Look what we got for you. It's almost like we planned for you to be up here. All right, so Adrian, if we can get the lights down, because we're going to do this thing right. Let's get the lights down. Oh, you hear the crowd? You hear the crowd? Yeah, my dream, your dream, right? Okay, guys, follow along. Here we go. from the labor movement, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, all right? I want this thing to be your dream to come true, okay? I don't care if you're Fergie or Will.i.am or whoever you am. It doesn't matter. We're going to make this thing, I promise this is going to be the last time. This time, though, we're actually going to get it right. Now, there were some times where I heard it was a little bit quieter than it should have been, a little bit on the greens, a little bit on the purples, okay? So we're going to pick it up. We're going to be loud, and if you're not whacking, start dancing, guys. Let's have some fun here, okay? So, Adrian, can we start this again, maybe? Can we back it up and restart the whole thing? Let's get pumped up here, guys. It'll be a possibility here. Yeah! All right. Get ready, get ready, get ready! Here we go. together we were a possibility. Sometimes, even to me, it seems a little bit cheesy. But look at what we just did. And today you showed up here, you made new friends, you had a good meal, you went into classrooms and you came together as a group, you met strangers, And now you're leaving here as part of a network of volunteers that's making this community stronger. That is why we're all here. 1 year ago today, I was standing at the back of the room as a campaign associate. Now, I'm standing in front of all of you, asking all of you to continue to do the hard work, to continue to do the work that's needed for our community. And for that, thank you all so very, very much. Somebody who is no longer a stranger to all of you, the wonderful, the amazing, the talented Maheen Rashid.
I'm not quite as loud as Carlos, so I actually need this thing. So I learned a couple of things in the activity today. I learned why I always lose at Guitar Hero. And I also learned that, as Carlos said, working together we can truly make amazing things happen. If we can learn how to perform a Black Eyed Peas song in just under 20 minutes, I think we can be pretty good for this community. Thank you as well to Colin for reminding us about so many things, seeking first to understand, for reminding us why we give, and that you can't keep what you want to give away. I'd also like to take a minute to acknowledge our 2015 Campaign Cabinet and Board for all the hard work that you do on behalf of United Way. In particular, I'd like to give a shout out to Jerry Lampert, our 2015-16 Board Chair, for being here today. Thanks, Jerry. And our Campaign Cabinet who joined us in this activity this morning. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stage this year's Campaign Cabinet Chair, Catherine Young, to help us close off this morning. She and Mauro, who you met earlier today, are leading this year's campaign. Catherine is an incredible asset to United Way. She has served on our campaign cabinet since 2007, and this is her second year in leading our fundraising efforts. I have learned so much from Catherine. As Colin said, Catherine reminds us at United Way to be loud and be heard. She's inspiring and tenacious in her pursuit to raise money for United Way. 2 minutes in her presence and you will want to jump on whatever bandwagon she is driving, and we are so grateful that that bandwagon is United Way. Thank you, Catherine.
Challenging. Thank you so much for that introduction. First of all, I'd just like to say it's so great to see this kind of energy among our closest volunteers. This group really is the epicenter of all of the work that is going to happen in this year's campaign. Today is officially the kickoff of this year's campaign. And if we didn't feel the kind of energy from this group, frankly, where are we going to get it? You are the people that are going to make this happen for us this year, and we really cannot thank you enough. It's going to make a big, big difference. First of all, I'd like just to say, to the point of connecting and the power we have as a group, it's amazing what we can do together, whether it's the 1 can of food you brought today, and thank you for that. It has amounted to hundreds of pounds of food for families in East Vancouver, and just imagine the smiles that will go on the faces when it comes to food security, for example. I always think of the little innocent kid who's starving and he's not focused, and so just that one single act, that 1 can you took from your cupboard, huge impact, and we want to take that impact that we're going to have in the case of the food for East Vancouver families and spread it across the Lower Mainland through this campaign. I'm absolutely thrilled to be in the company of such compassionate, fun-loving people, and whether that's the staff who put this event on or our speakers or you in the room, it's an absolute privilege. And we talked earlier about the impact that this campaign will have on the community. And I just want to take a minute to talk about what is that impact. Let's quantify it. Let's see if we can wrap our heads around it. And a lot of people don't know this, that the United Way is the second greatest funder of social services in the country, second only to governments. That for me is a fact that just stops me in my tracks. Because not one of us would say, okay, well, let's remove government funding. I mean, think of the kind of community we'd be living in. No one would say that. And yet United Way is the second greatest funder of social services in the country. And so to me, it's not like, well, should we give to United Way? Should we support it? Gee, that's a nice to have. It is an absolute fundamental to the kind of community that we want to live in. So if you're going to take one takeaway away, I would say, as you're talking to people in your workplace campaigns, let's not be apologetic about this. We're the second greatest funder of social services in this country. It's an incredible fact. You know, when we think of the Lower Mainland, our campaign is about to impact 300,000 people in the Lower Mainland. Think about that. Deserving kids, families, isolated seniors. It's incredible, the need. And it helps to put a face on that for me, because we say that, you know, 300,000 people, let's try and wrap our heads around that. What does that really mean? Hard to know. So is that filling Rogers Arena once? Is it filling it twice? Is it filling it 3 times? It's filling Rogers Arena 16 times. And every single person in that arena, 16 times over, their life will be impacted because of the United Way. Yes, because of the United Way, but guess what? United Way could not do thing 1 if it weren't for our donors, and people like you. It wouldn't even exist. So I just really want to reinforce the impact that each one of you are having on that Rogers Arena times 16 over the course of this next campaign. You know, I just want to reflect a little bit on Colin's speech. Colin, that was absolutely amazing, and you really just spoke to the power of connection. And what Colin reinforced for me was the power of one conversation and how it can change your impact. And I've had so many powerful conversations in my time with United Way, but I was at a dinner last year to thank donors. I was at a certain level. It was a beautiful dinner, and I was sitting next to a very senior volunteer, kind of a well-known gentleman in our community in his 80s. And he was lauding the work of the United Way, but he said, you know what? What really bothers me is that the United Way doesn't get matter in terms of a public message. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, you know what? We tend to be so apologetic when we ask people for money, when we ask people to get involved. But given the needs out there, I think, my big takeaway in that one conversation was absolutely right. Why are we being apologetic? This is a privilege. This is an absolute requirement if we want to live in this kind of community. And I've stopped being sort of soft in my approach and apologetic when asking people to participate and asking people to give money. And I would just encourage you to do the same, because this is not like a nice to do. To me, this is like a binary choice. What kind of community do we want to live in? So for me, that was a statement, that was an aha moment for me, and I just, to the extent I can pass it on to you, I'm delighted to do that. Okay, just a little housekeeping. Item. We've got a fun opportunity. I don't know if you saw in the driveway on the back of the hotel here, there's a great promotion. It's called Find the Aston, and this is a great little sports car. I don't know if you saw it on the way in. But this is part of a promotion run by our friends at Autoform, and I would just encourage you on the way out to take a selfie of yourself with that car. Instructions are there. If you post it, then you'll have a chance to win a beautiful weekend right here in downtown Vancouver with the car and a hotel. You can pass it on to your co-workers as part of your workplace campaign, or enjoy it yourself. So a little housekeeping, and thank you to Autoform for that. As I mentioned, folks, today is the kickoff of our campaign. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to reconvene as a group in the spring at a celebratory dinner that we call the Spirit Awards, and we look forward to seeing you all then. But in the intervening period, the take-home that I'd love to share with you today is go out to your workplaces, talk up United Way, bring facts to the table, get passionate, don't be apologetic, encourage 100% participation in each workplace, increase people to give, stretch give, as I know that I will, and I hope that you will too. And when we come back in the spring and we celebrate what we've accomplished together, I know we'll feel entirely rewarded, and you will know, as I do, that the more you put in, the more you will get out. Thank you so much. You're all great. We'll see you in the spring. Thank you.